Hi, my name is Jobby, and we're looking at the Ocular Max IF-01 Eris Kultur. Subjugation. Nice. She's a third-party version of the character Tarn from the IDW Transformers comics, which I still haven't read. But I did do some research, courtesy of the TF Wiki. Tarn is the head of the Decepticon Justice Division, who are pretty much Megatron's personal torture murder death squad. He also puts up a facade, a mask, if you will, of serving some higher purpose for the greater good. But in reality, he just loves the feeling of tearing people down. Sounds familiar. Follow me on Twitter at JobbytheHong. And this figure, whose painting and sculpting is awesome, is essentially a high-quality piece of gender-bent fan art, which I'm no stranger to. Does that count as failing No Nut November? I just jerked myself off. How are we doing so far, by the way? God bless. So apparently Eris is an MMC original character. She just changes style depending on what bot the designers decide to base her on. As far as I know, this excellent design never happened in the comics, but I don't see why not. I mean, just switch a few letters around and I'll stop before I get doxxed. Full disclosure, I got this figure for free from Ocular Max themselves, also known as Mastermind Creations. I don't think that's a secret anymore. And just like my previous review, I'm reviewing it 400 years after I received it. Well, there goes any hope for a potential partnership. It's okay though, I'll still buy their toys from the show's e-store. This is a completely unpaid mention. Just want to shout them out because they've been my primary source of third-party Transformers figures. Look forward to their super sale that starts on November 11. Links in the description. As for this figure, get fucked. Scalpers should be scalped. That's the least controversial thing I've said probably ever. The color scheme is fantastic. The proportions are perfect. I don't mind a little beef. You just get the sense that a lot of thought went into this design. But I don't know. How could this really be a ladybot without a hyper-realistic asshole? Big props to Mastermind Creations for not having their hands down their pants. This included booklet even features some concept art and early pictures of prototypes. One of the pictures features a Decepticon logo on her chest, and that's a big legal no-no, isn't it? All I'll say is, snitches get stitches. I suppose it was unavoidable since you can't have Tarn without this iconic Decepticon mask. They've even done it before. The mask is removable. Maybe a bit too removable. You could probably thicken these pegs with super glue. Just don't glue the mask on. You don't want to completely lose sight of this pretty face. Maybe a bit too pretty. Tarn wears a mask for a reason, and it's not just because he's a Decepticon. You fucked up my face. What's actually comic book accurate is the back kibble, which is why it doesn't bother me at all. Doesn't even affect the weight balance. Mostly. We'll get to that later. Helping with her stability is the die-cast metal in her calves and toes. And there's possibly more metal parts that I'm not feeling because she is deceptively hefty. Combine that with a durable paint job. The purple and gray parts are mostly unpainted plastic, no need to worry about chipping. And you get a figure that's just begging to be played with. This part's completely consensual, I swear. Eris Kultur challenges the Mastermind Creations Optus Pexis as the most articulated transforming figure that I've ever handled. You can get her into almost any pose that you can think of, but let's keep this somewhat ad-friendly. The majority of the joints feel solid, the tolerances are finely tuned. She's even got individually articulated fingers, and the hands don't look nearly as wonky as Optus Pexis is. I could honestly say that this figure feels practically perfect, until it doesn't. These calf joints don't lock in, making her a pain to pose, let alone stand up. I'd hope this is exclusive to my pre-release copy, but that's most likely wishful thinking. Fortunately, this should be an easy fix. Just disassemble and pump in your fluid of choice. Dr. D-Star or Kiki's are good options. Or you could use super glue if you have a death wish. Just keep that joint moving and don't stop until it dries. But until I actually do that, what a damn shame. She can still hold most poses fine enough, but that little issue makes her feel a lot cheaper than she actually is. Sounds like my ex-wife. Once again, a man does a better job than a woman. My copy came with a clear red card for some reason, maybe to indicate that I've gone too far in a few places. But if you guys have any idea what this is for, leave a comment. The red card is a stat reader that's usually included with Ocular Max figures. Thank you for letting me know the red card. There it is! Whoop-de-doo! And you get a proper card, stats on the back. This little lady isn't little at all. She's the biggest female figure that I've ever played with. Except for the blow-up doll. Figma Madoc Economy, SH Monster Arts Godzilla, Transform Element OP Leader, Optus Pexus, Mastermind Creations Vexo Prominon, and the Ocular Max Azalea. Totally not RC. Speaking of, if you're participating, you're gonna love what I have planned for this month. Subscribe so you don't miss it. So, Ocular Creations could afford to include an art booklet, but for some reason, you get a stupidly long fold-out for the transformation instructions. At least they're easy to follow, which results in a super intuitive and fun transformation process. And here we have the Gerwalk mode, which I just made up. Or that one scene from Evangelion. You guys remember Evangelion? I've only talked about it like 4,000 times. And this double-barreled tank mode is amazing. Brilliant engineering on display. I could hardly believe that such a svelte... Is that how you pronounce that word? Fuck it. I could hardly believe that such a sleek and slender robot could turn into a thick, hard tank. Everything fits together fairly well, but the connections aren't as solid as I'd like them to be. Not terrible, though, still pretty fun to play with. There's even a decent amount of articulation for a tank. Having the legs fold up to form the turret and repurposing that waist swivel was truly a big brain move. What's not so big is the tank itself. This giant woman really got crushed down for our enjoyment. Of all the things I've said so far, that one came out a little weird. Here's Madoc Godzilla Prime, Optus Pexus, Batman, and Azalea. Despite that truly annoying calf joint and the GPU level aftermarket, I'd still recommend this figure for any man of Kultur. Meet the bus. Ah! All right, first review of November, we did it. Thankfully, there weren't any anatomically accurate features. Oh.